Hi everyone, welcome to Amy's Little Homestead. I wanted to give you a quick tour of what's happening here and show you around a little bit. So, as most of you know, I live here in central Oklahoma now, and a lot has been happening here. So, we had that huge rain last Sunday, and it really did a number on the property. As you can see, it dug this huge hole just right down in here that's going to require some fixing, and I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to make that happen yet, but it's on the agenda of things that I have to do here soon. So I did get great time to go to Lowe's and Walmart and everywhere else for plants right now. They've had a bunch of stuff on clearance, so I was able to get 2 different roses, and then my mom picked up this little one right here. They're all 3 pink roses, different kinds of knockout roses. And I decided this would be a good little rose corner, and so really is starting to come together a little bit. And I have to say, the wood chips are really doing a great job with everything because they allowed me to easily dig these holes. Next thing I've got going on is the raspberries. So I'm in contact with the company that I bought these Joan J raspberries that have all died. They just sort of shriveled up and died. But my little Chester raspberry is still doing well. I did go ahead and I had some T-posts and some cattle panels and decided I was going to wire those up, and I'm going to use those as my trellis for my raspberries to try and keep them fairly neat. I've also done the same thing here for my blackberry. I've got 2 more blackberry plants that I'm going to put in. The next thing that we had done, and actually it was today, my yard guy that does all of my sprinkler system and helps me with things, he came, and I had 3 different sprinklers here in this very back part of my property. And I was like, I don't really need them. What can we do? And he's like, well, we can just take out the sprinkler heads and tie in this 1/2-inch line. So now I have 1/2-inch line, and eventually I will tee it off here, probably right here at the ground level, and I'll take a line. I'm actually going to put 1 more of these T-post trellises up. I've got more blackberries that are coming, and so I'll need the second trellis as well. And it's going to go over close to where the compost piles are. And I will tee the main line off, and I'll take a line over this way, and it'll feed all of the raspberries that I will eventually have, as well as you can see my one little lone elderberry that has survived. Let's go take a look at it, and it will get, I'll put a line into water, and it'll have just a little drip emitter at these for me. But he did go ahead and just give me the whole line, and I'll show you sort of how he's done this. It doesn't have any water in it, but he did just cap them for me with some really good caps, and so I'm good there. Like I said, eventually all the way back here, I have learned a little bit of information that with like my peach trees, they need to be at the highest point on your property, and this is it. So I think I'm going to eventually, I'll put another peach tree just right in here. I'll put one probably right where I'm standing, and maybe another one just right here in the chicken area. And then all the rest of the trees will get placed all the way around here. So as you can see, my electric fence, I've got it up. Still don't have my chickens, but I do have they call it a chicken house on Amazon, but it's basically a big dog kennel, and it's going to go and get butted up all the way to the edge here of the chicken coop, and I will just cut a hole in it so that the ramp can go down and the chickens can then be in there until I get the whole fence up all the way around the property and the chickens can't escape for me. So I still am my plan. You can see my property marker right all the way over there. But my plan is to put 1 fence on the property line, and then about 4 to 5 feet in, I'm going to put a second fence, and I'm going to double fence almost Well, this section, I'm going to have a fence that goes all the way down. And then it'll go into this, what I'm calling my chicken moat. And it's going to go down and all the way around on the 2 sides. And that is so that the chickens can go in there and they can still have a little bit more to forage, but also to help keep the pests down. Because I have had an issue this year with all of the grasshoppers that have just been going crazy here. Let's take a look. So this is my Wolf River apple tree that I planted. It was not easy. This ground is very hard and it's a shale clay, and so it's very difficult to dig, but I was able to get down in. I did a really big hole that basically is all the way around where those wood chips are, to give that tree lots of room to just sort of grow out, and hopefully it will do really well. So that's my one apple tree that I have right now. I have a couple more that'll come in the spring. And then this is my contender peach tree. And it is same thing. The hole dug a little bit easier, but this clay is so deep that it's pretty rough. So then I have my first blackberry bush that's already in the ground right there, you can see, and it will get tied up eventually. And I'm just going to use tomato clips, and then they're easy to take off. So as you can see, the water just came rushing down and tore through all the wood chips and made a mess. But luckily I must have planted my blueberries in just the right place. So both of the front 2, those are both the pink lemonade. And then this is, I don't even know what kind of blueberry this one is. I guess we should look, huh? Let's take a look and see what we've got. And it doesn't even say. I guess we need to go back, and I may have a receipt that tells me what kind I have. So I've started to put in. The house next door has a bunch of partially used bricks that they're not going to use, and I've been given permission by the builder. So I'm slowly figuring out if this is even going to work. I just wanted to put in a step or 2 to see how it was going to go, to see if I can't build steps up. It will take about 9 or 10 of these total in order to get up to the top here at the compost pile. And so I did go ahead and get T-posts in all of the pallets to use for the compost pile. So I still need to put some cardboard down and then some wood chips. This was sort of my pollinator mix, and stuff is coming up. It's starting to do a little bit better. This back section is all hollyhock, so I am super excited. I've got one that I may actually get a bloom. Oh, there's another one I may get a bloom from next year, so that's good. I do have a couple of pumpkins. You can sort of see it right in there, and so it is coming along. I'm still trying to figure out my layout for the garden, so I haven't filled all these beds here, these 6 beds, but I'm thinking I like how this is going to go. And I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to do on this one to this one, I'm going to put some T-posts and then bend a couple of cattle panels, 2 cattle panels in each one, because each one of these beds is 8 feet long by 2 feet, and do a trellis on that. And I think I may even do it on that these 2 here in the back. So, and here's another one of the lines from the sprinkler system that he went ahead and attached. I had 3 of them here in this back portion of the property, and it just goes to right there. I do have it running underneath the cardboard boxes, and eventually I will get more wood chips. That's all I have, so I need to get more wood chips from my son-in-law and my daughter. But I have my beds, so they are starting to do pretty well. My carrots and my beets have been beat down. They are not doing well at all. They have all pretty much died. I have like 1 or 2 little beets and 1 or 2 little carrot plants. You can sort of see the carrot right there, and I've got another one just over here. But that's it. They are not liking this, so I'm going to have to try something a little different. My 2 squash are doing pretty good. This little one is not doing much. And I did have some peppers that I grew, and they are starting to do a little bit better out here now. So we have the basil is doing really well. That is a cucumber plant right there. I have like one little tiny leaf of dill that is coming up from what I planted. I did come out when I had my surgery on my hand and found tomato hornworms on my tomatoes. So my tomatoes are pretty much done for this year, but that's okay. We'll start over next year and hopefully have much better success. Same thing with all of my peppers. I didn't have the best of luck with them this year. I got such a late start that the garden has really been hit hard. But one thing I am having luck with so far are my cabbages. They are looking pretty good. I do have some hoops and some netting that I think I'm going to go ahead and put on just to try and keep the cabbage moths and that kind of stuff out of here, since I don't need pollination for the cabbages. But it will impact my beans, so we'll see. I don't know. I haven't quite 100% decided yet. So as you can see, my asparagus here is doing pretty good, but I've decided it's not going to stay here. So I went to Lowe's, and they have them at Home Depot too, and you can buy these blocks. They're like $4.50, $5 per block, and you just slide your boards in it. Now, I've seen different sizes of boards, and these are just what I happen to get because the builder next door, these were going to be burned, and I'm like, I will take those off your hand, and he's got a couple more, so I think I'm going to go get and make one more. But I have decided I'm going to do about 2 feet wide here, and these ones are 16 feet long, so I am going to have to put some stakes in to support in the center to keep it from bowing out. This other one up there, that is only 12 feet, and I don't know. I'll probably still put some stakes or something in the center just to keep them from bowing. But this 16-foot one, I have decided that is going to get strawberries, and I'm going to do a big strawberry bed here on the side of on the edge of the property. And then this other one that's right up here, it's going to get moved to over here on the other side of where the third sprinkler line comes out at. So that way I've got them along the edges, and you can see the property line up there. So they are going to get moved this way a little bit closer towards the camera here, so that we can have them along the edges. And so I'm going to have like I said, I'll have the double fence, and then that double fence is going to come down to the end of the garden, which is going to be just right about here is where I think I've decided is the best place for it. And I'm going to end it, and then all of this is just going to get flowers eventually. And I haven't quite decided what all I'm going to put in here. I did some squash just because I was trying to get some stuff in the ground this summer, and this is all going to get something different. I haven't decided how I'm going to do it yet, but it is going to get something different. And I have sort of decided I like this rock so much right here that I am going to clean out all the dirt and everything around it, and I'm going to leave it. So we're going to see how that works. Now, one thing I recently saw was a way that they were doing their blueberries. And so let's come over to where the blueberries are, and I'll sort of tell you. What they have used is they used roofing metal, and they just took it and bent it in a circle and attached it. Well, I'm just going to do similar to the little corrugated like that, but I'm doing their 2-foot circles, and then they just set them on top of the ground and then planted their blueberry bushes in them. Blueberries have a tendency, their roots stay fairly shallow, but they will go out about 2 feet. So it would be perfect. And it will also be a little bit easier to control the pH. Blueberries are very picky on their pH level. And so in order to have the blueberries, you've got to be able to control that pH level, and that's one thing I am going to do here. So like I said, there's a lot going on still, but with all of that rain, it really did soften up the soil, so it made it a lot easier. I am planning on putting my grapes along this edge, and I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to use the cattle panel and T-post method, and I want to do about 30 feet. So that's pretty much to the edge of the house right over here, that corner. And so if you come right over here, I'm going to go from there all the way to here. But again, I have a pretty good slope right here on this section, and you can see where all of the rain came through, and 30 feet ends just right here where I had a big gully of water come through. So I am going to have to be pretty careful and do a little bit of research, but that's on the agenda for come this spring. But I want to get more wood chips down because they do really help with maintaining moisture in the ground and make the ground so much easier to dig up. So that makes things a little bit easier. And as you can see, I've got a hydrangea all the way over here on the edge of the house that I just planted. So eventually this is all going to get it's all going to get different kinds of bushes on the outside, or excuse me, against the house. And then I think all along I've got a bunch of tulip bulbs and things like that. And I think I will put the tulips all along in here so I have a really nice flower bed. And the rest of it, so this is pretty much where the grape arbor that I want to do is going to end. And it pretty much goes to where the end of that black edging is. I found that and I decided I was going to use it. I am a big scrounger and I like doing those things. So, but from about the end of where this black ends all the way to the street down there is going to get, sorry, you can see my good old septic here, but it's going to be a cottage garden. My mom was talking about wanting to do a cottage garden. So we're going to do some kind of a taller hedge all along the back property line. And the property line is pretty much where the grass ends. It's right at that little white post that's all the way down here. And so that's the property line on the east side of this property. So on the back side, it will have some kind of tall hedges, bushes. I think I'm going to do a bunch of crepe myrtles, taller crepe myrtles, because I love them. I just really enjoy the crepe myrtles. So that's one thing I'm going to do. And then it'll have something a little bit smaller in the front side of it. And then all the way on the next to the grass, it'll have some kind of an edging all the way down is my plan. And then we'll have tulips and daffodils and all that kind of good stuff, and just sort of see what we are able to find. And that's sort of the plan for all of this yard right now. And like I said, I do have a date on the 21st of October. They are going to come and install my storm shelter. I'm not exactly sure where we're going to be able to place the storm shelter just because of the water issues that I do have. It all comes through here, and I've got to see if my home warranty covers water issues like that, because it is causing a problem and I don't like it. So if I can get them to take care of it, that would be great. But I think what we're going to have to do, instead of pushing the shelter with the opening like right here and then going back on the backside, because it gets so much water running through there, that we're probably going to have to move it here on the edge of the house. My sunflowers are all but done and they're looking pretty pitiful, but we will put it here and then have it. And I'm going to push to have it as close to the edge of the property line here as I can get it. So if I have to move my T-posts and everything, so be it, and we will do that. But yeah, that's sort of where we're at. The yard is slowly but surely coming along. I need to get my sunflowers all cut down. I'm hoping to collect some of the seeds and plant them all the way up front here and do up in this section and put a bunch of sunflowers and just have some wildflowers and have a nice mix up there. So that's what's going on here, and I hope you enjoyed the tour. We will do some more later. Like I said, I'm hoping to learn how to do some editing on these videos so I can show you how I do things a little bit better. I want to really show you how I make sourdough in the wintertime, and I love to bake, so I'd love to show and share some of those recipes and some of my other recipes. Summertime really is a time of gardening for me though, and at this time of year normally I'm preserving a lot, so hopefully next year we'll be able to do that and share all of that. But I just sort of wanted to share where I'm at on my little homestead journey so far this year. And I hope you'll all come back. Please like and share these videos. It really would help me a lot. And subscribe if you like it. And we'll talk to you later. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.